Welcome back. Well, we just went through the past 5 years of the Dakota Marker game, but now to dive a little deeper into this historic rivalry, we bring in our expert panel of Tom Nieman and Carla Metts right here in Sioux Falls. And up in West Fargo, it is Brian Shawn. So Shawn, we're going to start with you, and we're going to talk about the game 2 years ago in Brookings. A guy by the name of Carson Wentz, I think we all know him, kind of had his coming out party his senior year with some big throws in that game. So, I mean, we talked about it a little bit off camera, but this was kind of the game where he really got going and built that draft stock, wasn't it?
Yeah, I really think it was. And people forget, earlier that season he got hurt against Montana. He was kind of hobbled a little bit. The Bison came in with a loss. South Dakota State was undefeated that year. And the Bison just came in with Wentz and took control of the football game right away. And he did it with his legs. He was on target throwing the football. He really led that offense, and people got to see just how good this guy was, especially going on the road in a hostile environment. But there's the throw that stands out to me that all the draft scouts and all the people that were following the NFL got those guys drooling. Near hash, far sideline, 11 yards to R.J. Erzendowski on a rope. There's not many guys in college football that can make that throw, and Wentz made it off his back foot and fired it right on target. And I think that was one of those throws that people go, wow, opened up some eyes. And not only that, but really his ability to run the ball, his ability to move in the pocket, his athleticism and his height. I think all those things stood out and put enough on tape really in that game, I think, that got a lot of people's attention, because just a couple of weeks later he got hurt, was done for the year until the national championship game. So that one always stands out to me.
Well, NDSU has definitely dominated this series, I mean, in recent years, but last year, SDSU comes out with the win in the Fargo Dome, 19-17. Of course, a big reason Carson Wentz was not there.
That is not a joke. That was a huge psychological reason. One of them that South Dakota State was able to play well last year, but yeah.
But what else was the difference?
There was
a good game.
This was one time really in the series where South Dakota State's offense with Taryn Christian and with Dallas Goddard and with Jake Winicky, that big three for the Jackrabbits, really got going. And we take a look at some of the highlights from last year's marker game at the Fargo Dome, and a sneak there by Easton Stick, who was filling in for Carson Wentz after Wentz was gone, and he's been fabulous, and he was okay in this game. But Taryn Christian, this was one play that was controversial because Dallas Goddard made a catch here. They called it incomplete, and Jacks did not get a touchdown there, but they kept their offense on the field as much as possible. And there were 2 turnovers in the game, 1 fumble here by the Bison. Taryn Christian threw an interception late in the ball game, actually in the 4th quarter, but hooked it up with Goddard here. And again, Goddard in this game had 11 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. Jake Winicky went over 100 yards. There's the interception by Trey Dempsey after South Dakota State went on a long drive early in the 4th quarter. Here's the last play of the game with 1 second to go. Winicky on the catch for the touchdown to go ahead, and the Jacks win at 19-17. But Taryn Christian, 444 total yards in this game, including 141 on the ground. He got loose and made a lot of plays. That was a big factor. South Dakota State over 500 yards in this game. So this was the one time maybe in the last 7 years that they really got going offensively, and they get the win 19-17.
Well, hard enough to win in the Fargo Dome, but we talked about this a little bit earlier, Tom. SDSU hasn't played that well in Brookings, so looking at this matchup, new stadium, maybe a new trend, I don't know.
In the marker series, you're right. In Fargo, the Jacks have played better in the marker series in Fargo than they have in Brookings over the past 7 or 8 years. So we'll see if the new stadium can bring the Jacks a little more mojo this year. We'll see. But North Dakota State is looking forward to playing on a better surface this year in the new Dana J. Dykehouse Stadium.
Oh, man. Well, the Dakota Marker, not the only time these 2 teams get together. Obviously, with 2 very talented programs, they meet each other in the playoffs. So specifically, let's talk about the 2014 playoffs, Carla. I mean, this came down to 48 seconds left, and you were at the game, so tell us about it, because it's pretty emotional.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's the Dakota Marker games and the playoff games. It's what makes it's so intense, because these teams meet up so often, sometimes twice in the year. Back in 2014, SDSU actually took the lead 24-20 with 3:18 left in the game. NDSU gets the ball. Carson Wentz, that name again, scores with 54 seconds left, but SDSU had 48 seconds to do something, and then they had a false start. Austin Summer threw an interception, but it was at that moment with 48 seconds left on the clock. I'm going back to my experience when I was at Georgia Southern. That's how they beat us, right there at the end of the game, and then that was back in 2012. In 2013, they beat Kansas State there right at the end of the game. So in 2014, you just thought, is this the year that they're going to be able to drop it? drop it at the end. You just didn't know if it was going to be SDSU or NDSU at the end of the game.
But NDSU ends up winning en route to a 4-peat. And then the next year, the 5-peat. So anyways, with all that said, setting up for a great matchup this weekend, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be fun.
Yep.
Should be a fun one.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Well, coming up after the break, we'll send it up to Shawn again in Fargo for a Bison breakdown with current NDSU tight ends and fullbacks coach Tyler Roll. Stay tuned.